Temple Pilots, Steve.
All right. It is 1 o'clock on a Thursday, which means time to check in with the Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual. And, Coach, let's start with the Virginia game. Now that the dust has settled following the 5-point loss Monday, what kind of stands out to you from that game?
We played really well. We had a great game, a great effort against probably the best team in the league, I think, top 10 team. Had opportunities to win. It's just, we couldn't quite finish. And, they're a really, really good veteran team, and they made a couple plays down the stretch. One of them was an illegal play. In a one-point game, the guy came from out of bounds and was the first to touch the ball, threw it right to Clark, and he made a three. That's an illegal play. But it was just missed. But it was a pretty consequential play in the game.
Yeah, that was a huge play as they went from up 1 to up 4. And I was actually curious when it happened live. It looked to me like, man, did he establish himself? Is that reviewable? Is that a reviewable play?
No, they don't review anything except in the last whatever, the minute or two.
Right.
It's just you can't be the first to touch when you come from out of bounds, and he was. But anyway, people talk about the press conference more than I've ever heard of. I've always been grumpy for 47 years. This isn't new. And the second thing is, I thought, and this was my fault, I thought it was released that Benny Williams was not going to play for personal reasons before the game. And so when I got the question, I didn't even really understand it because, I wasn't going to expand on it. But then I realized as he continued that they didn't know that news. So I answered the question. It wasn't a hard question. It was actually a very simple question. And I certainly didn't bully anybody. The reporter made a little face, and I commented on it. But I certainly didn't bully anybody. If that's a fabrication to call that bullying. That didn't happen. But I'm always more or less testy. When we lose, we don't lose 4 in a row anyway too often. But so it bothered me, and then I moved on and answered all the questions. I've been doing press conferences, Steve, for 47 years. I answered 98% of the questions asked of me. The North Carolina game, I didn't like the question about finishing the game because we had just finished the previous 2 games at Georgia Tech and against Notre Dame with a couple-point lead late. We expanded it and finished the game. But, there's some questions I don't want to answer. It's very seldom that happens. But just as you have every right to ask any question you want to, I have the right to not answer a question if I don't want to. And the fact that social media is upset with that, I don't pay attention to social media. 98% of the people on social media are not season ticket holders at Syracuse basketball. So they're entitled to their opinion, but I certainly, it's an absolute fabrication to say that I bullied a reporter. In fact, he was on social media yesterday, according to Pete Moore, extolling that he had asked the tough question, that's fine with me.
Coach, I was talking earlier about this. Everybody's talking about the press conference. Everybody's talking about, Benny not playing well. Is Benny Williams okay? Like, nobody's asked, is Benny Williams doing okay? And is everything all right there?
He was at practice yesterday and, looked fine. It's always tough when you're not playing up to, your expectations or other people's. Players follow social media too much. I mean, you should try to play up to your expectations. But he hasn't played the way he would have liked to, and I think it's bothering him. But he was at practice, and, he worked hard, and, he just hasn't played the way he thinks he can play and that we think he can play. And but other than that, he's been at every day. He's been at practice every day.
Paulie asked if Benny's okay. I mean, I'm curious just to, how is the team doing right now? Because we're seeing all these, you're playing better. The execution's good. I mean, you shot 50% against a really good Virginia team. But I know the results aren't there that you're hoping for. So how is the team handling getting better and going through the process, but, coming up short in a couple of key games lately?
Well, this is what life is. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want to. We've been the underdogs in all these games. I mean, it's not like, well, you're favored and you're not winning. But we gave ourselves a chance to win, and we're always disappointed when we don't win. But it's a very competitive league. I think Virginia's a really good team, and I think they're, 3-8 in the league, or 3-9 maybe. I don't know. It just happens. You can get into a bad rut. But we played good basketball. Certainly there's been a couple calls in each game that could have gone our way that didn't. But you just keep playing and try to get better. I don't think anybody predicted us to be any better than what we are right now before the season. But we could have been. But we've also won 2 or 3 one-point games. So, it's a fine line. We're not quite good enough to finish against the better teams in the league. But if you look at the improvement, early in the year we lost by 18 to Colgate, by 30 at Illinois. And we just played Miami on the road and Virginia here, both top 20 teams, one a top 10 team, and we almost easily could have won the game. So we're improved, which we hope to be when you have so many young players, but it doesn't always go that way with young players. When you lose early, you can just not get better. But these guys have worked at it. They've gotten better. And, we think we're a pretty good team, but we haven't been quite good enough yet. But as far as press conferences and everything, I haven't changed in 47 years. The fact that there's somebody saying that, well, social media doesn't like this, they haven't liked me here for 15 years. The last 15 years, the social media has been against me. So that is nothing new. When our season ticket holders start getting upset with me, then I'll think about it a little bit more. But everywhere I go, people say nothing but positive things to me, and they always have. But we're going to keep trying to get better, and that's all we can really do. You can't think about what whoever it is saying and do your job. There's going to be negatives. There always have been. You have to just keep going, moving forward, and getting ready for the next game. And Boston College just beat Clemson, the first place team in the league, just the other day. So every game you play, sometimes we win a game and people say, well, they're supposed to win. There's almost no supposed to win games anymore. Notre Dame was supposed to be in the top 5 in this league. They're not. It's a tough league, and you just have to keep going. I think that North Carolina was preseason, weren't they number 1?
Number 1 in the country. Yeah, in the country. Yeah.
And we really should have beaten them. It was inexcusable loss for a lot of reasons, but they've lost twice to Pittsburgh, who was picked next to last in our league. And, it's just a tough league. We're not getting the credit just like we did last year. But it's a very, very tough league. And you can lose to anybody in this league. Anybody. Florida State, I think, was picked, probably in the top 5 in our league, right?
Yeah.
And what's
They're
their
5-7 in conference right now, 7-16 overall.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, and we've got a lot of young guys that I think have handled all this well. They played through it well, but there's nothing easy ahead of us, and we're going to just keep going, keep trying, and see what happens at the other end.
Coach, how do you keep the guys focused. You know, you talked about the morale of the team after wins and losses, but these guys were all really good high school players. And, you know, when you got a guy like Quadir who you needed in the Georgia Tech game to go, how do you keep them focused and ready to go when you need them?
You know, everybody practices every day. They work hard, and they try to be ready. And that's what you have to do. Munir has come off the bench and made some good plays. Quadir has. Obviously, Justin Taylor's come off the bench and made some really good plays. I would, in a perfect world, I mean, I'm very happy. I mean, everybody should be pleased with the way Malik Brown has played for a freshman. He's played at a really high level. Judah Mintz, who's a better point guard in our league right now?
Yeah.
I mean, he's played great basketball. Joe's had a couple down games, but overall, he's been good. Jesse's been good. I mean, we're right there, but it's a fine line when you're playing the better teams in this league. And we're getting better, but we haven't been good enough to finish those games. And, you know, we all have to get a little bit better. And, you know, I've said from the very first year I coached, this is about our team. It's not one player. It's not a coach. It's about our group, what we do together. I don't blame a player. I don't blame the coach. It's our group. We have to be better. In each game, somebody could play better, whether it's one of the players, two of the players, whether I can coach better. That's every game. And every time you lose, you think of, well, we should have tried this. That's the nature of coaching. But sometimes you lose and you've done everything probably right. The players have played probably really, really good. But it just didn't happen in this game. But you get better. You get better. We've gotten better as a team. And we're going to try to get better for the next game. That's the goal. That's what you try to do. And everybody has ups and downs every day in life. And you just try to get better. And we don't make excuses. We just weren't good enough. That's the bottom line. And we'll try to be better the next game, but there's no guarantee of anything.
Yep, and the next one is Saturday, 5 o'clock against, as you said, a Boston College team that just beat Clemson, almost beat Duke, probably should have beaten Duke, almost beat North Carolina. A pretty good team, 5-7 in conference, but coming off a big win over Clemson. Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck Saturday, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Absolutely.
All right, there he is, the Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual.